Very good to see you. I have an important question. Is there any reason to use a traditional IRA? I'm asking because America's IRA expert, Ed Slott, I know you know him well, recently told other industry experts that an IRA is just an IOU to the IRS. He says he doesn't see any benefit to using a traditional IRA right now because tax rates are so low. Do you agree?
Yeah, generally, I'd agree with that. Tax rates are historically low, but to really answer that question, Aaron, I'd ask you a question. Let's imagine that you came to me for a loan. Okay,
Okay.
let's put a number on it. Let's say you came to me and you wanted to borrow $100,000. Here are the
Sounds good.
terms.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I don't need the money now. I'm gonna loan you the money. At some point in the future, I'll need that money back, and at that point, I'm going to look and see how I'm doing financially. And then at that point, I'll know how much interest I need to charge you on the loan so that I'll be okay. And we'll determine the interest then. Would you cash that check, Aaron?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't know many people who would cash that check. I
And
mean, no
yet,
one in their right mind would borrow money
yeah.
without knowing what the interest rate is going to be. But if you stop and think about it, anyone who has a traditional IRA or a 401k has exactly that loan arrangement. Okay. So when they funded those accounts, they deferred or postponed the taxes on those accounts. So they essentially borrowed those tax dollars from the federal government, and that tax liability is growing along with the rest of their account value, and it's going to be repaid as that account is withdrawn. Those taxes have to be repaid at some point in the future at some unknown tax rate yet to be determined. Okay, so pre-tax accounts like traditional IRAs and 401ks have their place, but generally speaking, I like the idea of limiting those arrangements.
Mhm.
And if you find that you've got a lot of your assets in those pre-tax accounts, it's probably a good reason to take a look at what your options are to potentially change that.
Mhm. The pro, though, for the tax deferred accounts is that you get an immediate tax deduction. But explain why a tax deduction is more attractive when rates are high.
Yeah, I think we can look at just a little bit of history. In 1978, just a couple of years before President Reagan became president, the 401k was created that year, 1978. And the top marginal tax rates at that point were about 70%.
Hmm.
So the 401k, just like a traditional IRA today, allowed those people to postpone or defer paying taxes at maybe a top marginal rate of 70% to later pay those taxes, let's say today at a top marginal rate of 37%. Well, that looks like a pretty great deal. But today, those top marginal rates are a fraction of what they used to be. And it's important to remember that most people actually don't pay those top marginal rates, but rates are historically low across the brackets.
Hmm.
If you look at a married couple today with an adjusted gross income of $100,000, just assuming the standard deduction, that married couple isn't going to pay a marginal tax rate above 12%. And the taxes they would pay on that $100,000 are about 40%, almost 40% less than they would have been in 2017 before the Trump tax cuts.
Wow. Okay, so let's say you converted all your tax deferred accounts. Theoretically, you've lowered your tax bill for the rest of your life.
Yeah, not just the rest of your life, but potentially for the rest of your life and your children's lives. Okay.
Hmm,
There
interesting.
used to be something that was very prevalent called a stretch IRA.
Hmm.
And what it allowed was that if you inherited an IRA as a non-spouse beneficiary, you could typically take distributions from that IRA very slowly over the course of your lifetime and pay the taxes very slowly over the course of your lifetime and maintain most of that account tax deferred. Okay. With the passage of the Secure Act in 2019, most non-spouse beneficiaries now have to distribute that entire account in only 10 years. And most of the time when somebody's inheriting one of these IRAs, they're inheriting those accounts in their 50s or 60s during their peak earning years when their tax liability
Right.
couldn't be higher,
Hmm.
right? So that means if you've got assets set aside that you intend to leave to your kids, and those are in traditional IRAs or other pre-tax accounts, you need to understand that those can be a ticking tax time bomb for your estate. That's another reason, if that's your plan right now, it's a good reason to consider what your alternative options are.
I love that you're always thinking about what's best for the family, Dustin. If somebody has questions about where they should be putting their retirement money and how to be appropriately tax diversified, what's the best way to reach you?
They can send me a text at 830-476-2505 or reach out on the website to book a free chat at longlivemymoney.com.
All right, Dustin, thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.